I have a question about hotspots. I'm going to be going on an extended RV trip, like for a couple of years.
Oh, how fun! So now you guys retired?
I'm going to be. I really need to know how to stay connected securely. I do some consulting work with a VPN, and we'll do online banking, some shopping. We watch television through Roku and antenna, but we need a reliable internet connection. And, when you're out in the wilderness, you don't have it,
right.
And when you're in a campground, it's usually not adequate. So can you tell me about hotspots?
It's so funny is that my assistant for over 10 years, she came in, she retired. We did a whole podcast, by the way, you also might want to tap into, where I asked her what it was like to actually buy an RV. They call it a bus. Theirs is 45 feet with pullouts. I learned what pullouts were, okay? I also learned that it had a basement, figured that one out. But one of the things that we talked about with Jackie, and that was her question, is how do I get reliable internet access? Because as you said, depending upon where you park the bus, you may have great coverage or you may have no coverage at all. Like she was explaining to me that one of the places that they camped out was right above Santa Cruz, right on the beach, beautiful, but there were no bars, okay?
Right.
And so when you have to rely totally on Wi-Fi, it can get limiting. And so one of the things that you mentioned was the hotspot. And depending upon what kind of phone you have, sounds like you probably have a smartphone, is that you can turn on a personal hotspot. And when you turn that on, everything around you, your gadgets that you've authorized can actually hop on the internet using that. And it relies on a cell phone signal. So as you might expect, is that if you have 5 bars, you're going to have a faster internet connection, right? So there's a couple of things that you want to keep in mind aside from that. Is number one is that there's an app called Open Signal. And it's really terrific. So if you know where you're going, you can type in this app, Open Signal, and then that'll give you an idea what the Wi-Fi is going to look like and what your cell signal is going to look like. So you kind of have an idea before you get there. You're not sitting there going, okay, Bob, how many bars you got? Okay, which is still going to happen too, but at least it gives you some idea. The other thing that you can do is to actually buy Verizon. Who's your carrier?
Right now it's AT&T, but I've heard that Verizon is the best carrier for that kind of thing.
It is. And they actually sell something called a jetpack. It's about a couple of $100. And what it does is it allows you to have kind of like your own individual internet connection that's not relying on your phones. And so it's almost as if you were to put a data line into your RV, and then the jetpack would put that signal all out. But it does require its own line. So if you have a cell phone plan without a lot of data, this makes total sense if you're going to be using a lot of data. So if you're doing consulting, you're looking at videos, looking at Prezis, PowerPoint presentations, going on LinkedIn, doing a lot of social sharing that way, that may be the way to go. You have to look at really your particular usage. And the other thing that you might want to just have in the bus too is a Wi-Fi extender or a Wi-Fi booster. This way, if the signal's coming out of the I guess you'd say the RV's office, the main office,
right,
is that it will give you a way to maybe boost that signal a little bit closer to you. Going with a hotspot is really terrific because it used to be like, if we talked about this 5 years ago, I'd say, well, you got to get a satellite dish, It's like,
right.
Put that on the top of the bad boy, which doesn't mean you may not want that anyway for DirecTV, but you don't necessarily want to depend upon that for your internet. Now, of course, when you say Wi-Fi, what automatically comes to mind? Not secure, right?
Right, exactly. They're not secure.
Right. And so when it comes time to do your banking and working in your investment accounts, that would be the absolute worst place to do it. So that's why these jetpacks, AT&T's is called Unite Pro. That makes sense because this way you do have that secure cellular connection. And as well as you can always use all your banking apps. And use those on your phone. You just don't want to go out there in the wild and go out there. I was hesitating for a second because I was trying to think one of the things that Jackie told me about this whole hotspot idea that I really hadn't thought about till she explained it to me was that if you don't have any bars, one of the things that they're doing when they're traveling around the country and they can't make a cell phone call, they're actually making phone calls using Wi-Fi, using Facebook Messenger because they have all their contacts in Facebook Messenger, right? And Facebook lets you make phone calls or chat. So that's also something else you might want to put in your bag of tricks.
Okay, I'll have to look that up.
So do you have any questions about any of that? Or?
No, I think that clarifies a lot of things. The jetpack, I kind of heard peripherally, but didn't know a lot about it.
You know, it might be a great option, especially if you're going to be doing a lot on the road. And again, you might take a listen to this podcast. And in case you haven't heard our free podcast, of course, we have podcasts with the Kim Komando Show. If you're a Kim's Club member, you can download the show and, listen on your phone, your tablet, your computer, on the go. And of course, it's that crystal clear digital audio. It's fantastic. But every week we put together free podcasts. And to find them, you go over to the show at Komando.com and then go down that list and it says free podcasts. And the podcasts, the free ones, they're about 20 minutes in length and allows me to delve deep into a particular topic. So we've done things about the deep, dark web and how do ransomware people really make their money. What's going on in security? What are we predicting for 2016? Where are the jobs going that are going away? And what about all the crazy Kickstarter projects? Well, we did one with Jackie and her husband, Hal, about what it was like to actually sell all their worldly belongings. They literally had a garage sale where people walked in and said, I'll take the curtains, I'll take the silverware, I'll take that painting. And then they consolidated and they've been living in their busts. But we talk a lot about the technology and about how they need to have a mailing address and why they selected South Dakota and why South Dakota is also where they're registered to vote. Just really fascinating things to kind of delve into that topic. Anyway, to check it out, head over to Komando.com. And once again, is that you look for the link that says free podcast. Thanks so much for your call today, Susan. I do appreciate you getting through.